Assalamu alaikum rahmatullah wa barakatuh. A petri dish is a dish that you put um, things into and they grow. And so you grow compounds, you grow medicines, you grow things in them. It's a place that is suitable for things to develop in. God's qualities exist. We are surrounded by them. Right and wrong exists. We are surrounded by it. Love and kindness are all around us. And empathy is something that many of us share. Wisdom is the petri dish for all of these to develop appropriately. And if you don't have wisdom, it's impossible to apply these things correctly. Um, Someone asked me, uh, what's more important, mercy or love? And why is it that sometimes I'm capable of being merciful and loving and sometimes I'm not? And I said, the real question isn't what is mercy and love? The real question is, why can't I remember? How come these things fall out of my head and I revert to what I used to be? We are in a path of change right now. We are changing from ordinary man to God man. We are changing from satanic qualities to godly qualities. We are changing from believing in illusion to believing in God alone. We are giving up our belief system for a new belief system, which doesn't treat this existence as permanent, but treats it as temporary. And because it knows that it's temporary, it doesn't give it the gravitas, the seriousness that people who don't know that it's temporary give it. So it all begins with learning the difference between illusion and truth, learning the difference between the hallucination of life and the reality of existence, understanding that our physical vision creates an illusory tapestry that we live in, and because of our vision and the way we see things, we give faith to this illusory tapestry and treat this illusory tapestry as if it were real. We give it credence, we make it important, and we act within it as if it uh, was important to us and if our life depended on the things that we see and the things that we do within it. Well, there comes a time when we hit a certain crossroads, when we begin to understand that we've been doing the same thing over and over and over again, and essentially we've been staying in the same place. There's been no progress, there's been no change, there's just been repetition. And we have to learn to go from repetition to change. And in that process, we have to learn to hold on to the change so that when we take a step in a certain direction, we have to maintain that step. We can't backslide. But the truth is that it's difficult not to backslide. And in Sufism, we have the prayer of remembrance. It's called zikr, the repetition of God's names, to bring back into our consciousness the qualities of God, to remember them all once again. And in remembering, you become. In forgetting, you disappear from them and you enter in illusion. So, for our lives, we have to remember God's qualities and we have to apply God's qualities in this world. But we have to apply God's qualities in an appropriate way. For instance, if you see a hungry lion and you bring it meat and hand it to him because of your empathy for the lion, then you're going to be in great danger. The lion will eat you. You have to know how to apply empathy. You have to know how to apply love, how to apply those qualities. And that brings us back to wisdom. So you have to know when love is applicable and when self-defense is applicable. Um, I wrote a poem once that went like this. The sheikh walks into town bearing a flint. He attempts to strike a fire. Some bring bellows. Others bring buckets of water. The situation in the world is that some are looking to ignite the truth and some are looking to suppress the truth. Some are looking to do away with the truth while others are looking to spread the truth. If you're going to maintain your illusory dominance of power, you have to suppress the truth because in truth there is unity. In illusion, there is separation and distance, and one controls the other. This is not the way of reality. This is the way of illusion. So we, each of us, has to have the wisdom to know when to give love and when to hold ourselves out of situations. Um, there was a book written recently where the writer coined a phrase, suicidal empathy. And suicidal empathy means that you go on to giving all that you can to something that's going to destroy you, like handing the lion meat is going to end up in your demise. So we have to be very careful. We have to have wisdom. Wisdom can tell the difference between right and wrong and tell when the different qualities are applicable or not applicable. It is our responsibility as true humans to walk this earth for the benefit of God. And when I say for the benefit of God, I mean to do the work that He does. We are His representatives on earth. And if we truly live up to our honorarium, the benefit of God's on earth, we have to carry with us His qualities. And then we have to apply His qualities appropriately. God is just and He has justice. But there is also judgment, and there is also forgiveness, and there is also acceptance. Now, we walk through this life trying to do what's right. and we should do what's right, and we should be constantly conscious of our own actions. And how are we conscious of our own actions? By watching them, watching what we do, watching how we do it, and watching how we apply ourselves in various situations. Can we control our anger? Can we control our jealousy? Can we control our temper? Can we control our lower qualities? Can we rid ourselves of them? Can we withstand the onslaught of hatred? Can we withstand people who irrationally do things towards us that don't make any sense or that are harmful? Can we withstand the slings and arrows, as they say in our language, of what the world throws at us and still survive and carry ourselves in an appropriate way? Our final judgment is with God. Our final decision making as to who it was that we were on this earth is with God. Now, even though this life is an illusion, it also has a very powerful influence on our eternal being. Within our soul, we create the atmosphere, the uh, the clarity for truth or the clarity for non-truth. We can degrade our own soul by doing inappropriate things. We can walk around with a degraded soul by becoming degraded in our actions. And we can elevate our soul through having appropriate actions. All of these things are within our decision making process. This is what freedom of choice means. It really comes down to doing the right thing or not over and over and over. And if you narrow it even more, it comes to believing in God or not. Because if at the forefront of your consciousness is a very strong belief in God, then you will do the right thing. But when you forget about your belief in God, you are without being judged. You are without the seer who knows everything that you do, and you almost think that you are hiding. The cat, when it steals milk, closes its eyes, thinking no one sees it stealing. We think at times when we forget that we aren't seen, that God has taken time off from watching us, and so we can commit whatever acts it is that we wish to commit, and we are without judgment for those moments. There's no truth to that. But when one lives in illusion, one creates falsehoods from truth. We also have an obligation not to be too involved in worrying about ourselves. We should fear God, and in that fear, the appropriate response is to do what's appropriate. The appropriate response is to love. The appropriate response is to have mercy. The appropriate response is to be just and have compassion. That's the appropriate response to the fear of God. The appropriate response to the fear of God is to become God-like, is to carry God's qualities and display those qualities on this earth. That is the appropriate response to the fear of God. Prayer should be not for material things, not for peace within this world of illusion, but prayer should be for closeness with reality. Prayer should be that all of that which is within us, which is not real, should disappear from us so that we become transparent in our relationship to God and our relationship to His qualities. That everything in us that is not of that nature be hidden and done away with, and that God makes that easy for us. That God gives us the wherewithal to bring His qualities into our being and to integrate them into us in such a way that we exude them, to integrate them within us in such a way that we breathe them and exhale them, that they are an integral part of our existence to the point where they become our entire existence. We do not exist except for our relationship with God. We do not exist except for our integration into reality. Everything else is a falsehood. And the false prophets will preach to you about wealth, about power, about fame, about the need for these things, and how they will buttress your life. The ones who know understand that all of these false material things that we can accumulate and gather don't do us any good in the eternality of our existence. The only things that do us any good are carrying the truth within our being. So, you can't take money with you, but you take love with you. You can't take fame with you, but you take compassion with you. You can't take you you can't take power with you, but you can take mercy with you. Allah allows us to become that which He is. Allah allows us to become His qualities. Allah allows us to be integrated with truth and with reality and to leave illusion. And our prayer should be to leave illusion and to be able to see the truth and not be blinded by all of the glitters and fascinations and sparkles that exist within the world. Diamonds shouldn't blind us. Gold shouldn't blind us. Wealth shouldn't blind us. Fame shouldn't blind us. Power shouldn't overwhelm us. None of these things should have a great effect on us, nor should we strive to have them. Because if we strive to have them, then we are giving up on having God's qualities. They are not compatible. We can't have power and believe God is the all-powerful. We cannot believe that we do when we also believe that God is the all-doer. Everything comes from Him. Every breath comes from Him. Every action that we do comes from Him. Now, when we follow through on that action, we follow through either in a positive or in a negative way. If we follow through in a negative way, that's not God's fault, that's our fault. But He has given us the power to be able to move in that direction. We need to understand that, and we need to find a balance in our lives that we can do what needs to be done in the world and do what needs to be done for God. We have a physical body. We need to eat. We need to house ourselves. We need to be able to take care of our families. We need to do certain things within the world. And Jesus said, give unto Caesar what is Caesar's, and give unto God what is God. So Jesus really set forth the difference between the world and your godly self. And we live in the world, so we have to be appropriate in the world. Bawa said, tell the world you believe in it, but in truth, only believe in God. This is the penultimate of being human. Also, don't spend a lot of time worrying about how you did. Worry about what you're going to do. The past is gone. We can't repeat it. The future doesn't exist. All that we have is this moment. And our responsibility to this moment is to do the right thing in this moment. Sufis are called sons of the moment. What does that mean? That means they live now. They do now. They act now. They're not looking for reward for their actions. They're not looking for a positive reaction to their reactions. They're just looking to do the right thing. Everything else will fall in place. If you do the right thing, Allah will be with you. And if He is with you in this moment, He will be with you in the next moment. If you push Him away in this moment, it will be difficult for you to go to Him in the next moment. And you're going to have to start over again in meditation and in prayer to bring yourself into a godly state. But we have to somehow remain in a godly state. And this is the work that we've been given to do. And it's not easy work. It's actually called jihad, which means that you have within you elemental sources. This body is created of elemental sources. And in the elements, there is a natural antipathy from one element to the other. Yet, all of these coexist within us, and all of them are arrogant, all of them strive for power, and all of them strive to be the one in control. So, we're dealing with this, we're dealing with the body that is made up of these elemental forms that have this antipathy toward each other and that are looking to be in control, yet we are looking to give up control and understand that these elemental forces are not what truly rules us and are not what truly rule the world. God rules the world. And so you have these elemental forces directly in competition, at war with the godly forces. The elemental forces are not going to change the way they are. Fire is going to remain fire. Water is going to remain water. Earth is going to remain earth. And the qualities of fire and water and earth are going to remain. But we are not fire, water, and earth and air. We are something else. We are beyond form. We are beyond shape. We are beyond elements. However, it's difficult to be cognizant of that fact when all you encounter is what you see with your physical vision. And your physical vision tells you it's not like that. You see all of these things, they're real. No, they're not. They're not real. But they've been created in a way to make them appear real. And it is up to us through learning wisdom to be able to give up to the attachment of the understanding that that is reality. It's up to us through understanding truth and understanding God's nature to give up that which we see with our physical vision, to give up that which we hear with our physical ears, to give up our attachment to the elemental. But there are certain elemental things that we constantly have to be involved in. You have to eat. You have to rest. You need shelter from the elements, or your body will be destroyed. And you have an obligation in this lifetime to protect your body and to keep your body healthy and to be able to do the work you're intended to do in this earth. God placed man on this earth, and man's obligation is to help other man, to be able to be an aid towards other man in the same way that God gives towards other men, without condition and without expectation. So if we're going to do all of these things, we are in a constant battle with our senses. We are in a constant battle with what we see and what we hear. We're in a constant battle with the advertising industry. We're in a constant battle with the entertainment industry. We are in a constant battle with the political framework of the world. We are in a constant battle with everyone who is trying to bring you in to illusion. Misery loves company. And the ones caught in illusion are miserable, but they want you to be the same way they are. They don't want you to be different. They want you to be like them. What happens when a man of truth comes into a community and tells them that what they're doing is inappropriate and their belief system is wrong and they've been doing this wrong for hundreds of years? The almost immediate response is we are very satisfied with the way we do things, and the way of our ancestors, the way of our fathers and our mothers, is sufficient for us. We don't need any new understandings. We don't need any new instructions. Well, every time God sent a prophet, there was instruction. And if you turn the prophet away, you've missed your opportunity for instruction. You've missed your opportunity for truth. Every time a true sheikh comes into the world and you have the opportunity to be with him or to be next to him, you either accept that opportunity or you push that opportunity away. Now, the interesting thing is that these opportunities don't come the way you expect them to come. They don't come in the form that you expect them to come. There was once a man who wanted to meet the Khidr Nabi, the eternal prophet, and he meditated on the eternal prophet, and he took a piece of paper and he drew a picture of what he saw in his meditation, folded it up and put it in his shirt pocket, and then went on a search to find the eternal prophet. And he went from village to village and town to town, 15, 18, 20 years. Finally, he was in a village and he said, I'm looking for the Khidr Nabi. Has anyone seen or heard of him? And one of the people said, you're very lucky. He's here. He's two houses over to the left. Go see him. So he went there. He waited in the foyer. They invited him in to the Khidr Nabi. And he's looking at him. He pulls out the piece of paper he has in his pocket, looks at the picture he drew, and the Khidr Nabi doesn't look like that picture. He put the picture back in his pocket and he left. He didn't meet the idea that he had of the truth. When you meet the truth, you have to give up your ideas of the truth. You have to give up your preconceptions of the truth. When I met my sheikh, he was an entirely different color than I was. He spoke a language that meant absolutely nothing to me, and he dressed in a way that was incredibly bizarre to my Western upbringing. He was from a part of the world that I knew nothing about, but within minutes of being in his presence, I understood the nature of what I was in front of and what this apparition that I was looking at, what this manifestation that I was looking at could do for me. And I could tell that I was in the presence of something very different, very special, and it was going to be altering in my life. I took my father, who was very ill, to meet him, and they met. And then I took my father home, and my father, who was a very quiet man, but very insightful, very kind, and very loving, said to me, "He's not from this world. He's from the time of the prophets, and he's like the prophets. We've never met anybody like him." He knew immediately. Some people never know. I've had people who I introduced to Bawa who would say the most bizarre things, but would not get involved. He was here for 12 years in Philadelphia, uh, actually about 14 and a half years. And during those 14 years, thousands of people came in and out of his door. Only hundreds stayed. Why? Because the truth is not what most people want and most people desire. If you look at our little group, we come back again week after week after week, and we repeat the same things. Why? Because we all know we need to remember. We all know we need a refresher course constantly to keep us on point, to keep us close to the truth. So we bring into our lives that which allows us to remember. We bring into our life that which brings love into our being. And we've all learned to love each other. We've all learned to respect each other. And when we see each other's faces, love rises in us. And what better thing is there for us than this love? And that's why we come back, because it brings love to us. That's why we went to see the Sheikh so constantly, because he brought love out in us. And all of a sudden, we are in a state of love. God has given those who know the truth the ability to transfer to others what it is God gives them, until God gives that to them directly because they're strong enough to handle it. So we have to take on God's qualities. We have to take on his understandings and his wisdom. We have to take on the truth. And to take on the truth, we have to be vigilant. We have to be constantly aware of the fact that in every corner surrounding us, there are those who wish to bring us into illusion. There are those who wish to throw that which is not real at us and insist that it is the truth. This happens with every newspaper and every magazine and every TV show, every news report. How often do they talk about on the news about the quality of God's love in this world and what God's love can do for people? This isn't even a topic of conversation in the world. This is not part of the worldly way. This is not what the world believes. The world believes in its own power. The world believes that it creates what happens next. The world believes that it is the way and establishes the way and has been growing and growing in the way by adding to what came before us. And that's why we write books. And that's why we write history. And that's why we record history. But in truth, recording the story of ourselves is a falsity. There's only one story, and that's his story. There's only one truth, and that's his truth. But what's so bizarre is we call our story his story, as if it somehow was about the truth. The words are almost a pun on reality. History is not his story. History is our story, and the story of illusion and the story of following illusion. We have to begin to understand to give that up. We have to learn to be constantly conscious of God. A man walked into a market and he heard somebody who was selling watermelon screaming, "The sweetest there is, the sweetest there is." And he fainted. He thought the man was talking about God. The sweetest there is. We need to attune ourselves to that sweetness. Rumi said, live your life as if it's fixed in your favor. God is with us. Don't forget that. But don't try to pin anything down. Do what's appropriate. Do what's right for the sake of God, not for the sake of yourself. Do what's right for the sake of humanity, not for the sake of yourself. Learn to give for the sake of God, not for the sake of yourself. What will happen to you and the positivity that will flow to you will happen because you do it for the sake of God. So learn to give, learn to love, learn to empathize for the sake of God, and do it with wisdom. So your empathy goes to the right places and your love goes to the right places. And ask God to help us be rid of that which is inappropriate in our being. Ask God to help us to be rid of all of the satanic qualities so that the godly qualities can shine within us, come forth within us, and take us on the true path of righteousness, the true path of clarity, the true path of legitimacy towards our Lord. May that happen easily for each of us. May He make that path easy for us. May He allow us to see the difference so clearly that there's no question in our hearts or in our minds as to what the next thing we should do is. That there's no question in our hearts and in our minds of what is true and what is not true. Allow us to be the ones who see, who understand, and who spread that understanding, and who help with that understanding, and who bring that truth into the world. May it be so. Ameen. Ameen. Ya Rabbil Alameen. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.